They are fixing the division. Yes. Massive have just unveiled a raft of changes to loot in patch 1.2, which comes out very soon, hopefully. So stick around to hear all of the details because believe me, you won't want to miss it. Guys, welcome back. It's Skill Up here with another Division video. Today we're going to be talking about the recently announced changes to loot and to the Dark Zone in patch 1.2. Massive unveiled a ton of stuff that was, to be honest with you, very, very exciting. So I'm very looking forward to sharing it with you now. So let's get to it. Of course, if you like this video and you find it useful, then don't forget to drop a like as it helps me out in a very big way. And if you're not a subscriber yet, hit that subscribe button now. So during the recent State of the Game stream, the developers started kicking off the discussion around what we can expect in patch 1.2. And from the looks of things, it's shaping up to be pretty damn great. Two core philosophies, it seems, are underpinning this upcoming patch. The first one seems to be about generosity when it comes to loot, and you can actually hear it directly from Massive themselves.
So basically now, the whole idea behind the 1.2 and what we are going to do with the loot with that, the motto for the team and for that update is to be generous. Like every time we did meetings and stuff and we're like, maybe are we doing too much? And it always come to, we don't care, we need to be more generous. So let's push all the button all the way up. Be more generous in terms of quality of loot, in terms of quantity of loot, in terms of source of loot, and we really want the loot, because that's still the most fun activity in the game, to be your main source of upgrades.
This phrase, push the button all the way up, was very, very cool. So the developers are actually going to be going through all of the different activities offered within the game, be it Dark Zone, be it challenge modes, be it incursions, be it hard mode missions, everything you can think of. And they're looking at basically upping both the amount of gear that we get and the quality of that gear. Because the big problem right now is that we have all these high ends dropping, but they're all garbage because, you know, obviously we're sort of like well past what they are in terms of gear score now, which means that when we do pick up our shiny gun or whatever it is off the floor, it's usually a 163 and it's completely rubbish to us. But let's be real, it actually wasn't a gun. It was an advanced performance mod. So the developers have outlined that there are some very key changes that they're making. First of all, we can expect more loot to be dropping. Across the entire spectrum of activities in the game, the developers are upping the drop chance for high-end and for set items. Secondly, the gear score for those items will no longer be garbage. They will actually hopefully be useful to us at this point. Now, they weren't really clear about what kind of item level we can expect from things like hard modes, but they were very clear about what we can expect from the Dark Zone. And the reason that they were clear about that was because they informed us that they're actually adding a new bracket to the Dark Zone, gear score 200 plus. Now, this is actually something that people have been asking for quite some time now, because the 160 bracket is just too broad at this point. You've got people in 160 gear getting completely annihilated by people in like 220, 230, 240 gear. It's not fair. So the fact that they're shrinking down these brackets to more manageable size is good. So you'll still have your sub 160 bracket that'll still exist. Then you'll have your 160 to 200 bracket. And then at the end, you will have your 200 plus bracket. Now, the thing about the 200 plus bracket is that all of the mobs are at least level 32 and they actually go up to level 34. So they're going to be some fairly tough enemies in there, which also means that the quality of loot associated with them is also going to go up. So the developers have confirmed that from those higher level enemies, we can expect to get 240 gear score items, including the 240 gear score sets. They've also announced that they're making some big changes to drop table weightings, which basically means that we're getting way too many advanced performance mods right now and they know it. So they're going to be shifting the balance and we're going to be getting a lot more weapons. They were very clear about that they're significantly upping the drop chance of weapons and dropping the chance for performance mods. So that is definitely something we can be thankful for. So all in all, this is a pretty amazing shift for the game. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about this Diablo Road to Damascus kind of idea that's been circulating for a long time, where the original Diablo was released, it was pretty trash, to be honest with you, because the developers were really stingy with loot, which meant that when you finally got a legendary item after hours of grinding, it was almost certainly garbage. So they basically fundamentally redesigned or rebuilt Diablo from the ground up to just throw loot at you constantly, under the idea that they want the player to enjoy the experience as much as possible, so that even if they do leave the game, they leave with very positive associations and they're more likely to come back with future expansions. Now, this sort of philosophy was also picked up by Bungie in Destiny when they did their Taken King release. They made significant changes to the loot system there, and rumor has it that the Blizzard guys actually visited the Bungie guys to give them some advice on how they'd revamp their loot system. And anyone that plays Destiny know that the Taken King was actually an awesome expansion because they started really giving you tons more loot, making it a lot easier for you to gear up. Fast forward to the Division, it's clear that the developers have been very stingy with the way that they've been trying to manage drops and drop quality. And now I think they've sort of realized the error of their ways. What we heard from the developer then, talking about generosity in terms of like what, loot and loot quality, is a really, really positive step forward. And if that's the foundation or the sort of philosophy that they're going to be bringing to the game in the future, I think that's only a good thing for us as players. Now, one other point that developers raised was their philosophy on nerfing versus buffing. Now, they made it very clear that in patch 1.2, they are keen to buff underperforming weapon types rather than nerf overperforming weapon types, such as SMGs or the M1A Marksman rifle. Now, ultimately, this is a really good thing for the game. Now, I've spoken earlier about my views on buffing versus nerfing things, but ultimately the main objective is just to get to the point where the game is better and we have more variety of choice. And if we have more weapon types to choose from because they are all as viable as each other, this is really fantastic. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with the lesser used weapon types, such as LMGs, which are really trashed here right now, with shotguns, which are highly situational in terms of their usage, with the really fast rate of fire marksman rifles, which absolutely no one uses at this point, and with the named weapons, which everyone is calling out for buffs. Everyone knows that these things should be more powerful than they are, and hopefully they'll be getting some buffs too. So what do I think about these changes in aggregate? I love these changes. They sound fantastic. This sounds like a very positive step toward the game that this should be. And yes, we absolutely have Diablo and Destiny as two really good case studies for what happens when you just start throwing more loot at players. They don't get bored and leave the game faster, they enjoy themselves much more. It is unquestionably a much better experience when we start getting loot. This is a looter shooter in the end, and if loot isn't dropping for us, or when it does drop, it's garbage, then we are pretty quickly going to stop playing it. So well done on this one, Massive. It looks like you're absolutely headed in the right direction, and I can't wait to see it. Now, you know me, guys, you know I'll be covering every bit of news that comes out in relation to patch 1.2 with a specific eye on changes to weapon balance and the overall weapon meta, because that's something that really interests me. So if you want to stay up to date on all of that sort of stuff, be sure to subscribe. And if you like this video, don't forget to drop a like for it. For now, guys, this is Skill Up signing off. Take good care and see you in the dark zone. Bye-bye.